What's going on, everybody? It's Thursday. That's right. Almost the end of the week. Almost weekend time. It's March the 10th. And yesterday, we got not only a bunch of exclusive pictures from Entertainment Weekly on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that featured all sorts of things, including the Sith Inquisitors, Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, Owen Lars, and more. I came on air and said we probably wouldn't get the trailer because typically they spread those things out. Well, not 30 seconds after I got off air did the trailer drop. So if I had a foot to put in my mouth or my foot could physically reach my mouth, that's where it would be right now. But thankfully, we got that incredible Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer. And, you know, I'm thrilled with it. I loved it. We did a review of it last night. I'm sure we'll be talking about it for weeks to come. I'm just so incredibly thrilled that we finally have not only pictures, but interviews and a teaser trailer for the show that we've been talking about anyways for 7 years. It originally started off as a movie that Ewan Mcgregor wanted to direct himself, eventually had Stephen Daldry come in, and like this thing has completely changed from its original intent. Let's dive into it. Let's dive into it because there is a brand new Obi-Wan Kenobi interview with Ewan McGregor, and we are going to play that interview. And I'm looking forward to hearing what
I just felt like, we
jumped the gun a little bit there. Apologies. Comment down below. We would love to know what you guys think of the interview. We also have some quotes from Hayden Christensen and a new Darth Vader pick as well. So we're going to get to all that in this video. Comment down below. Be sure to click the like button, comment, and hit subscribe. Here we go.
We just like the period of time between episode 3 and now just didn't exist or something. It was so peculiar.
He's already got.
So we find Obi-Wan at the beginning of our story, rather broken and faithless, and beaten, somewhat given up. Well, he's different because of what's happened at the end of episode 3 with the Jedi, with Order 66 and the Jedi Order being slaughtered and everyone who survived going into hiding after dealing with his personal failure with Anakin, that he feels that the responsibility that he allowed Anakin to be tempted into over to the dark side, and that he wasn't able to stop that, and that his teaching wasn't strong enough to be able to.
So I know other content creators have gone out there and said they really didn't want to see the, broken down and beaten Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's dealing with PTSD and depression and all that. And like, these are content creators I respect, but you simply can't do this show without showing that stuff. It wouldn't be realistic. This guy not only suffered, a career loss, a personal loss as well. The Jedi was his life. He lost Lady Mandalore there in the Clone Wars, and then lost Anakin, and to a little bit of a lesser extent, the Padme too, who he had a relationship with, and like the idea that people didn't want to see a depressed Obi-Wan is just like, I get it. It's hard to see our hero like that, but it's also what makes him human. You could not do this show without it, in my opinion. Let's let him continue.
Protect Anakin from that. I think weighs obviously very heavily on him. Yeah, it was very special. It was very odd. It's odd to come back to something after such a long period of time. We made the last film in 2003, and I guess it was early last year. I went down to do some casting, and they wanted to do screen tests with some young actors. We were on the Mandalorian set, I think. It was a weekend, and they were not shooting, so we'd used a bit of their set, and it was their, I think, mainly the Mandalorian crew. But I walked out, I went into my dressing room, and there was some random Jedi stuff, not stuff that I'd worn in the other films, but just based on, or some Jedi type clothing. And I put it on, and it just felt it felt great. It felt important, and it felt special, and I was happy. But it wasn't really till I walked out onto the stage, and someone said, okay, ready. And I've got my line, obviously I've got my role, but the young actors I'm reading with maybe don't have their role. So I've got my page. I'm just making sure I know my lines because I don't want to screw up my lines for their screen test, their camera test. And I was walking out and I sort of looked up and I was aware suddenly of the crew, who are the Mandalorian crew, but looking at me coming in Obi-Wan's costume, and I could feel like that sort of excitement running through. It was exciting. It was cool to see Hayden back in the role of Anakin. Well, it was sort of spine tingling. It was amazing. It was just amazing to see Hayden, full stop. I mean, I'm so close with him. We've stayed in touch over the years, but we haven't seen each other for a long time. And as it got closer and closer to the shoot, and once Hayden was on board, he was in LA and we met. It was during the lockdown, and we met in Santa Monica in a park, and we both walked along with our masks on outdoors, and we had this long catch up. It was so lovely. Like it just been years since we actually saw each other, not for any reason other than just, just locations. And I was here and he was in Canada, but I love him so much. And we have a very special bond of making two of those first three films together. And it was an important part. It was so important for both of us, for our careers and for who we are. And so we had just so much to catch up on, life stuff and where we're at. And it was so lovely to see him again. And then to be on set with him again was just odd. It was like time hadn't happened or something. I looked across at him, and we're on a set, and I look over at him. He's Anakin now. I'm Obi-Wan now, and it's like nothing had happened. Like I didn't see any age on his face. I just felt like we just like the period of time between episode 3 and now just didn't exist or something. It was so peculiar.
Well, there you have it. That's the interview with Ewan McGregor in Entertainment Weekly. I absolutely love him touching on, meeting back up with, I almost called him Anakin, Hayden Christensen, which is incredible. I think Hayden gets a bad rap. I just hope, I'm a geek for behind the scenes stuff. Those Star Wars prequel DVDs that came out in the early 2000s, the amount of extras they have on them, I go bananas over, absolutely bananas. And I hope that we get something at least similar to what we got for the making of The Mandalorian season 1 and 2. But for Kenobi, even though it's a limited series, although I still think there's a door that's open for Ewan McGregor to come back and do something else down the road. But that remains to be seen at this point. I hope we get to see a lot of that behind the scenes stuff. Obviously, he's kind of hamming it up a bit in terms of, Hayden's return. Well, Hayden does have a significant part to play. We know that Darth Vader is actually played by a few different people in this show, thanks to making Star Wars coverage on the show. Let's take a look at the new Darth Vader pick. Here it is. Very reminiscent to Rogue One. In my opinion, it's probably the exact same room from Rogue One. So that's really cool. I think it looks great, and it's just very sleek, and it's nice. And for me, I'm a little bit worried about how James Earl Jones is going to sound. The guy's 90 now. I didn't necessarily think the voice was the greatest in Rogue One, but it's James Earl Jones. So if he wants to do it, let him do it. Let's dive into the article a little bit here that came out and see what they had to say. We already showed you the exclusive first look images of Ewan McGregor's return as the Cloaked Jedi Master in Obi-Wan Kenobi, premiering May 25th on Disney Plus. Those images also included the return of Joel Edgerton as Uncle Owen, as well as formidable new foe in the form of Force-sensitive Inquisitor named Reva, played by the Queen's Gambit's Moses Ingram. Now, from what I understand, she knocks it out of the park, so I can't wait to see her in this show. And I haven't seen Queen's Gambit personally, but I know a couple of people who have that speak very highly of it, so there's that to look forward to as well. But McGregor and Edgerton are not the only returning actors to the Star Wars franchise for the new series. And Reva and the Grand Inquisitor, seen in the recently released trailer, are not the only Imperial villains on the hunt. Cue some labored mechanical breathing noises because the Dark Lord of the Sith himself is back, and we got your first exclusive look at the return of Darth Vader. Also back in the man under the helmet, Hayden Christensen, who transformed from Jedi Padawan Anakin Skywalker to dark side villain in the Star Wars prequel films Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Much like McGregor, it was a 17-year journey to get Christensen back in black. Gotta love the AC/DC reference there, to play one of the most iconic figures in the history of pop culture. That's an understatement. I firmly believe there is no bigger villain in cinema history than Darth Vader. I mean, some will argue Palpatine, but not the same effect as Vader. In our exclusive image above, we see Vader appearing to emerge from his meditation chamber. I'm not positive on that. I know that's what they're saying it is, but this looks like the back-to-tank room from Rogue One. Maybe I'm wrong on that, unless they're saying that it's the same thing, but the original trilogy would seem to indicate otherwise. Feel free to comment down below if you want to correct me on that one. Since the meditation chamber allows the Sith to remove his helmet, as seen in The Empire Strikes Back, when poor Admiral Piet briefly admires the back of Vader's scarred head before the helmet is lowered over it. Might this mean we'll catch a glimpse of Vader without the mask in Obi-Wan Kenobi? Well, we already know, thanks to Making Star Wars Newsnet, and some other places, that we will see Vader without the mask on, and we will see Vader in the back-to-tank. You're getting a very layered Darth Vader in this series. I wish I could tell you, Christensen tells EW with a coy smile on his face, I'm sworn to secrecy. As for the kind of Dark Lord we'll see in the series that helps fill the gap between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, Christensen's more straightforward. We're going to see a very powerful Vader, promises the actor. While it sounds like there's a chance we may see Vader unmasked, how much Vader in general will we actually see in the show? His shadow is cast across so much of what we do, series writer Joby Harold teases, and the degree of his proximity to that shadow is something that we'll discover, but he's very much a part of the show emotionally for Obi-Wan and possibly beyond that as well. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. If you've listened to the guys over at Making Star Wars or even elsewhere, Bestman Bulletin's another big one. Vader's not just in this show a bit. And if you're worried that they're going to pull the Luke Skywalker, The Force Awakens thing where the story's about him, but he doesn't appear to the end, that's not the case. Vader is featured very prominently throughout this series. And I would strongly suggest heading over to Making Star Wars and seeing even what episodes he's in, because that's already been revealed as well. What did you guys think? We had an Ewan McGregor interview there. We have a brand new Darth Vader pick. The Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi series is upon us. Comment down below. Let us know what you think. What would you like to see in this series? I've never been more excited for something in my life personally. Apologies, that was the wrong clip there. And I'm really, really excited to see what this series brings. Huge Obi-Wan Kenobi fan. It's my favorite, not just Star Wars character, but character in cinema. And he's back. Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I will say this. I believe we're going to, over the next few weeks to a month or so, I know Empire has some stuff on this, and I believe Vanity Fair has as well. So you'll have that stuff coming out as well. And Making Star Wars is on today at 2 p.m. Eastern over on their channel, and I think they're dropping a pretty massive spoiler, so head on over there and check that out. We'll see you in the next video, everybody. May the Force be with you.